Hello folks, I'm sorry for not giving more message for a while now, or maybe for just 1 week, of course. I hope everybody okay, but as we know, not everybody feels great, and yes, I'm sorry for it. What I'm trying to say is that each and any of us, regardless if we are Muslims or ex-Muslims or maybe liberant Muslims or maybe faithful Muslims without violence. We could say we are 4 different Muslims who just want peace, regardless how we maybe live, even if we are sad about the violence, who cast our own beliefs and anything around it. For example, every time as I remember, we were a society who could maybe respect each other. But the sad reality is, when we become manipulated and also, how shall I say, brainwashed because of whatever stands in the beliefs. True, I can say one thing. What about my beliefs? What was it? That I always thought that Muhammad wanted at least peace. That was my mind. I have always used this path. I have always wanted to treat everybody equal. Have I done any mistakes? Well, not exactly in a physical way, more like mental way. What do I mean? Well, for example, when you are a boy and learn yourself to, share your equality with everybody, you also learn about that you need to be kind and all of these things. Yes. But the sad reality is that sometimes as a boy, even if you have been instructed in something else compared to whatever those past generations did, the sad reality I try to say is, for example, you should be careful, especially when it comes to the other gender. It's more like to say that even if we are kind, we also are blind. For example, that we're saying we have to be careful when it comes to the other gender, but we're forgetting that this gender in this generation are strong. And that's something I want to also understand. Because whatever my mom taught me, yet I forgot that any of my friends, for example, female friends, are actually much more stronger. Sure, my mom were a rebellion when she was young, of course. But she was also a traditionalist as well. So there's 2 combinations in the Muslim society. But again, the sad reality is that whatever those in the past did, that's something we in the newer generation need to take, for example. And yes, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to dismiss the idea. No, what I mean is I'm going to understand that even if that person is in another gender and maybe have much more feelings because of whatever they are going through, we're forgetting that each and any females are strong too. And that's the thing. We could still be vulnerable to those in needs, but we also must see that they are strong. they could handle themselves. Sure, there's those people who doesn't have that kind of chance because they have been learned and taught that they can't. But they can. The only difference is their parents. Their parents. Every time when the parents say that you have to behave in a certain way to be that kind of Muslim female, that will be a huge problem when it comes to the humanity who have no understanding that they have the potential. But the same way is that whoever wrote the book is the one who sang. The only thing I know is that regardless who even wrote the book, despite Muhammad, who knows? That doesn't necessarily mean that we all are in that fall. No, of course not. Everybody have one chance to even think of something. And that's how to treat each other. Not everybody has to treat someone in a certain way, no. But the only thing we have in our mind is equity. Equity is much more important than anything else. And if we don't treat anyone in those decisions, in that kind of position, then what the hell are we doing in this case? We need equity as much we need equality. What I'm saying is, every female need equity and equality because most of those females are the victim of this kind of system who still exists. But I wonder, since Islam have existed in many years before Muhammad arrived, I don't say that I have anything against Muhammad, no. What I'm saying is that since he actually has suffered mental health in the past, there is no help, no discussion, no nothing. Yet we're talking about that something went wrong, but no one wants to admit because it's harder to even talk about whatever our Prophet did suffer. Because every time we're doing that, then suddenly some people might say, oh, you hate our Prophet, you hate our Prophet. That's not the idea. The idea is that we want to change whatever happened in the past. I remember that I couldn't talk about Muhammad's wrongdoing when I started to discover what he had done. But that had nothing with me hating him. That had only with whatever anyone have done, because many people can do that. Yes. And if that's not enough, then what exactly does the follower think in this case? Why didn't any followers even think that when you hurt somebody, is that exactly what you want to be treated with? Of course not. No one wants to be treated like that. Yet we have people who does it. But that's not my idea when it comes to all those things happening in the past. What we have to do at least is to change whatever happening today and let all those vile ideas stand in the present of the 17th century in a desert time. What I'm trying to say is, we could keep only the good part, but separate the bad part. Dismiss the bad part. I think that God wouldn't care if we changed the law. But many of those Muslims and those Islamic scholars and those Muslim apologists keep disclosing it. The funny fact is, every time when a Muslim saying that, the only thing we could make good is that we pray. We pray, God sort everything. Yet we're saying, if God want. So yeah, the truth is, we need to talk anyway when it comes to our own mental health. Because if we don't, what kind of people would we be? What kind of people would we turn to? The worst part is, most of us can be negative or secretly suffering because of whatever we can't speak out. And that's the worst part when it comes to being a Muslim. I mean, take today for example. When it comes to males who either have to live with their parent without to talk about, we say for example, those who maybe go to okay, we can say this. People who maybe join wrong crowd, for example, not in the idea what the parent have in their mind, more like the normal standard in this case. For example, gangsters today who have maybe shotguns and anything. Okay, how about those others? Those who may be saying, we're going to change the world. When I saying that, I mean like IS. I call them IS, they don't deserve to be called ISIS. No, IS. ISIS who actually recruit or hire people or recruit people, vulnerable people in this case, but also brainwashed people as well. And that thing could only play the game of whatever this part could be later by forcing people to do something that they don't normally want to do, yet they think they're doing it by whatever someone wrote the book. What I'm saying is, Muhammad wasn't the only one, but he was at least included as one. He is, but in this case, there's more than just Muhammad, even after his death. So yeah, it have been many kind of things. Even if we don't have the courage to even talk about the bullshit were actually happening for all those years. We're talking about boys who just joining a group of people who think they're doing the right way, even if they do wrong. I mean, what exactly can serve you? By killing in someone's name, even in Muhammad's name, even in Allah's name? None of that in this case. Yet we have this capacity by talking about whatever happening, yet we all have no idea what we actually are doing. No, it shouldn't be like this. Instead, we all have to come together and talk with each other. Before we do something, we're going to do something we're going to regret maybe later. Unless we are brainwashed to believe that that's exactly what we are doing. We do the right thing. We clear everything around. Okay, but ask me this. What exactly are you doing? Would you love to be killed by someone else? Even in someone's own name? Huh? No one even thinking of that. Instead they think that God will sort this or favor us, or that the old mentality they had about going up to Jannah and later be reward. Okay? Why on earth would Allah accept us killing a bunch of people, delaying everything, death who just sitting there and taking care of people several times and getting annoyed over us mortals who killing each other? And then God have to talk with everybody. Okay, fine, He's omnipresent. But even a God have emotion in this case. You think a God doesn't have it? A God who maybe have lived in million years or billion years, and yet a God who have to just accept everything we are doing. But we're forgetting one thing. There have been other lives before us. Okay? We could include jinns. Fine. They were the first one in this case. But there have been many population before us as well. Even before the jinns as well. So why on earth are we saying that Allah is tolerable? I don't think so. Because sometimes we're forgetting that even a God can have feelings. But what could we do to change our position and our behavior if we continue killing? Huh? That's also something. And yet, remember this when I said that everybody can be hurt in the end. Yes, being hit, being forced to something, being taken, granted, or other things. I mean, like I said, take for example, if you're getting abused, even as a boy, of course you're going to be sad and angry. But even if you could forgive the parents, that's okay. But it's up to you how you feel and whatever you have going through. We all have to talk sometimes when it comes to our mental health, because every time when our mental health getting more further in a risk, we won't be able to even think straight. Instead, we have all this anger issue and all this negativity inside ourselves, and all of these things we actually express outside, even if we try to hold it in. I mean, that's what we are all doing. We are going through a certain thing sometimes, even if we don't express it outside, yet we're dealing with inside of our own mind. We do. Because there's nothing else we could even explain for certain people how we actually feel. We are also taught in the past that we should never talk about our feelings and things. But here's the thing. I would rather recommend my daughters to talk out if they have. Go to, I don't know, therapist or anyone, or someone who maybe trust, and talk. Do that. But talk with somebody who are logic, not somebody with bigotry and saying, well, you're in a certain gender, you must respect this part because this and that. No, that's not a logic person. Even if he's my friend, that shouldn't be him unless he knows exactly what he's talking about. But in reality, you need to talk with somebody who understands feelings. Yes. Normally I would say you can always talk with a female. But again, unless the religion's saying otherwise, I don't think that's a good idea. You need to talk with somebody who understands your mental health. That's the thing. Talk out whatever you are going through and get rid of this pain. It doesn't mean that you will get rid of your pain immediately. No, you need to talk more and more until you maybe find a certain way to heal yourself. Because as I can remember, all of us did the same thing. We tried, but yet we couldn't. What is the reason? Simple, we don't talk. Because our pain is for ourselves. We used to always say, Allah will sort it out. And yet, we may be ending up hurt somebody in the process. We're still doing this and just saying, Allah will sort out of. How many times are we going to say that until we never realize that this person has been hurt? We need to talk. We can't just say, Allah will sort everything, and yet we're doing it again and again and again and again and again and again. That's the problem when it comes to whatever we have been taught, because nothing were clear in the past, because no one talked. Take for example Muhammad. When he was a kid, he was born. He was healthy anyway, but he was born, they didn't have much, the family were together, no problem. But the sad reality was, first his dad died, then his mom, when he became a little more older. It was a sad reality for Muhammad, but his uncle Abu Lahad did take care of him. And yes, I said Abu Lahad because that's exactly what stands in our verse, and correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, but the problem was with Abu Lahad was that he didn't give him comfort, that love, only a roof Muhammad could actually live in. Yet he didn't feel that love, that kind of connection. It was instead that Abu Lahab dismissed him for some reason. Just because he doesn't come from a wealthy family, he was more like a second hand in this case. That maybe hurt Muhammad in the process. And that's exactly what we all turning to because of our own pain as we are going through. That anger we have actually dealt with in so many years without to even understand our feelings. Because there was no one who we had to talk about. Muhammad had already lost a family, yet no one talked about that. No interest. No wonder why the violence did exist, and his hatred towards his uncle. And that song we used to sing every time when it comes to our own prayer, not our 5 minutes prayer, 5 daily prayer. I'm talking about other prayer verse in this case, but I can give you maybe that contest next time. So that's it. But what I want to say at least, that part as I talk about being treated different, no matter if you are a female or male. But in this case, as a female who living in a society, that environment who maybe are too tough because of our own verse who's saying otherwise. But I hope that we all can come together, not only us four, I'm talking about everybody. Dismiss the violence, dismiss few verse, take only those verse who seems to sound more sense. That's it, nothing else. That's exactly what I want to do. Because if we keep continue doing what we are doing, we will eradicate ourselves, eliminate ourselves, because of our own beliefs and verse. Anyway, that's all I had to say now. And I want to thank for everybody to taking your time, even if I am maybe a rookie. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. Have a nice day. Bye.